If I lost all my real estate knowledge today and had to start over from scratch, here's exactly how I'd master flipping houses faster in Florida. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Gino Santarossa and I'm a certified realtor helping people move to Florida and invest in the right properties. This episode is going to be jam-packed and I'm going to let you know exactly what to avoid before you buy your first fix and flip. Over the years, I've worked with buyers, sellers, and investors, and I've seen both massive wins and costly mistakes when it comes to fixing and flipping homes. And if there's one thing that determines whether a flip is profitable or a disaster, it's this: knowing the right process. Now, a lot of people assume flipping a house is all about finding the cheapest deal, putting in a little bit of paint, fixing the floors, and cashing out big. Others think it's about chasing hot areas or copying what they see on TV shows. But here's the truth: none of that guarantees success. Think about it this way: countless flips look great on paper but end up losing a lot of money. Meanwhile, the right strategy, even on modest properties, can generate tens of thousands of dollars in profit. So what's the difference, you're probably asking yourself? It's not luck, it's having the right system in place. And that's what I'm breaking down in this video: the 5 key steps you need to follow to flip and fix successfully here in South Florida. If you follow these rules, you'll avoid the biggest mistakes that cost new investors a lot of money and time. Before we get into point number 1, if you can, click on that QR code at the bottom of my screen to get a free copy of my black book with all the top neighborhoods to invest in. Now back to the program. Finding the right property. Most beginners think that finding the right flip property is all about luck. They assume investors just know where to look, like they've got some sixth sense for spotting deals. And I used to think the same thing, to be honest with you. But imagine you want to become a great fisherman. Would you simply just stare at the lake and hope for the best that you're going to catch the biggest fish? Of course not. There's a process. You study where the fish hide, what bait works, and when to cast your line. Flipping houses works pretty much the same way. Instead of chasing every listing, you narrow in on the right kind of property. Think single-family homes, not mobile or modular. And you should stick with solid bones, brick or block construction, at least 3 bedrooms, around 1,000 to 1,100 square feet. That's your prime fishing spot. And just like fishing, you need the right networks, wholesalers, the MLS, with an investor-friendly realtor like myself, and even direct sellers you meet by building relationships. But here's a catch: don't just trust anyone who throws you a deal. You vet them out. Ask how many investor transactions have they closed in the last 24 months. If they can't answer, move on, because finding the right property isn't about luck, it's about strategy. And when you master this first step, every part of the flip becomes easier. Let's get into point number 2, buying at the right price, the 70% rule. This next step will save you from the single biggest mistake new investors make all the time, and that's overpaying. And I learned this the hard way. When I bought my very first flip, I thought I scored a deal. The house looked great from the outside, the seller was motivated, and I figured, hey, if I fix it up nicely, I'll make a great profit. But when the dust settled, I barely broke even, and here's why. Because I didn't have a system for knowing my maximum purchase price. I was just guessing, and in real estate, guessing is gambling. Then I discovered the 70% rule, and everything changed for me. Here's the formula: maximum purchase price equals ARV times 70% minus your rehab costs. So if a property's after repair value is $100K and you need $20K in renovations, the most you should pay is $50,000, not a dollar more. That margin alone is what protects you from hidden costs, delays, and market shifts. Now, most beginners mess this up here by speculating. They pick the highest sale in the neighborhood and say, that'll be my ARV. Wrong move. Don't use wishful thinking. Use real comps, same street, same style, same size. Because if your numbers are off, your profit disappears before you even swing the first hammer. So, buying at the right price isn't about being aggressive, it's about being disciplined. Stick to the 70% rule and you won't just find deals, you'll find profitable ones. Before we get into point number 3, if you're looking for a great fix and flip, I've got tons in my repertoire. Contact me today, my calendar link is in the description box below, and let's have a chat. Now to point number 3. This is crucial: getting the money right. But even if you find the right deal at the right price, another trap here can kill your flip even before it begins, and that is called money. When I first learned about hard money loans, I thought they were a magic bullet. Perfect, I told myself, I'll just borrow, fix, and flip. Easy breezy. But the reality hit me fast. My lender wanted 20% down, plus points, plus interest that ticked like a clock every single day the project dragged on. By the time I paid utilities, taxes, and insurance, My profit was shrinking by the hour. That's when I realized getting the money right isn't just about getting the loan, guys. It's about understanding the true cost of using other people's money. You've got some options: hard money lenders, private investors, or even OPM, which stands for other people's money, of course, in creative partnerships. But whatever path you choose, expect to bring in 15 to 20% down for your first deal if you're going the hard money route. And never forget, loan costs, interest, utilities, taxes, and insurance, they all pile up whether you finish the flip or not. Most new investors ignore these carrying costs, and that's how they eat straight into their profits. But if you run your numbers honestly and account for every single dollar, money stops becoming a liability and becomes your biggest lever to scale. Point number 4, rehab smart and don't overdo it. But before we do that, if you can click subscribe and hit that bell to stay up to date, and also while you're at it, smash that like button for me, and let's get into point number 4. So let's say you locked in the money and you're ready to swing hammers. Here's where a lot of beginners crash and burn: the rehab. On my very first flip, I wanted to create the dream house: granite countertops, brand new floors, recessed lighting in every room. I even paid extra to scrape off that awful popcorn ceiling because I thought, hey, who would want popcorn ceiling in their homes? Well, guess what? When it came time to sell, buyers didn't care about half the stuff I spent money on. They were comparing my house to other homes on the same street. And because I overspent, my profit margin disappeared. And that's when I learned the golden rule: copy the comps. Don't design for HGTV, design for the neighborhood. If the comps have laminate counters, you don't need quartz. If the comps have carpet, you don't need hardwood throughout. Every dollar you spend should have the potential to bring 2. And here's another piece that saved me tons of headaches: your contractor team. This is a big one. A bad contractor can bleed you dry faster than a high interest loan. So always check licenses, call references, very important, and actually look at their past work. Once you've got a reliable crew, every flip gets smoother, faster, and way less stressful. I've got tons of recommendations for you, so if you need a reliable crew, hit me up here on this channel. Say, I'm looking for a reliable crew, and I'll get right back to you for sure. Let's continue with this rehab point. Rehab isn't about over-improving. It's about being smart, efficient, and strategic. Do what the comps demand and nothing more. That's how you protect your margins and actually scale this into a business. Let's get into point number 5, timing and market awareness. All right, so you found the right deal, you financed it right, and you nailed the rehab without blowing your budget. But here's where even seasoned flippers get tripped up: timing and market awareness. When I first started flipping in Florida, I assumed every single deal could be turned around in about 3 months. Buy it, fix it, list it, done. Reality check is this: most flips here take 5 to 6 months minimum. Between permits, inspections, contractor delays, and yes, even hurricane season, you've got to build those delays into your budget. Otherwise, those extra holding costs can eat you alive, and timing isn't the only thing. Florida markets are hyper-local. One street can have homes selling for $200K, while the next street over is pushing around $500K. If you don't stay laser focused on your comps, you could price yourself right out of a profitable deal. That's why you don't just want to buy anywhere. You want to buy in growing areas where flips are actually happening. Having a realtor like myself on your team, I find these areas all the time for my clients, and my team is ready to take your call. So contact me today and let's talk about your next fix and flip. Rental-heavy neighborhoods can be fine for long-term investing, but if your strategy is flipping, you want to demand from buyers who are ready to move in. The bottom line here is the market doesn't care about your timeline or your expectations. It rewards those who stay patient, plan for delays, and understand the neighborhood down to the block. That's how you protect your profits when it's finally time to sell. So after all that, finding the right property, buying it at the right price, lining up the money, rehabbing smart, and staying on top of timing and the market, you've got the full roadmap. And here's the truth: if you miss just one of these steps above, it can wipe out all of your profits. I've seen it happen time and time again with great properties bought too high, rehabs that went overboard, or timelines that dragged on until the carrying costs bled the deal dry. But when you get them right, that's when flipping turns into one of the most powerful wealth building tools in Florida real estate. The kind that doesn't just make you a quick profit, but sets you up for long-term success. Deal after deal, at the end of the day, flipping isn't about luck, and it's definitely not about guessing. It's about strategy, discipline, and execution. And if you follow this framework, you'll be miles ahead of most beginners trying to wing it. So now you've got the full roadmap to flipping houses in Florida the smartest way. Finding the right property, buying at the right price, lining up the money, rehabbing strategically, and staying aware of timing and the market. But here's the thing: knowing the steps is just the beginning. The real challenge is putting them into action without making them costly mistakes that most beginners do. And that's exactly where I can help. I'm Gino Santarossa, certified realtor here in Florida, and if you like guidance on finding your first flip or scaling into multiple deals, my contact info is in the description box below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to hit subscribe and follow me on all my socials. I share regular Florida market updates, investment tips, and neighborhood insights to help you succeed in real estate. Thanks for watching. Click on the next episode here on my screen, and remember, in real estate, one smart flip can change everything. Thank you again.